Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And before we jump into the show, I'm going to describe myself real quick. I've got brown hair and brown eyes. I've got a headset on. I'm up in my office in the Fledge with my art behind me. And I've got Accessiversity t-shirt on, the one that told me that maybe I should describe myself before we start. So, welcome everybody to the show, and I just want to give one shout out to ourselves. Really, we've got a marathon fundraiser happening this weekend, Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., 13 hours, where we will have a live stream show of all kinds of different artists and speakers and things like that. So check us out. But you didn't come here for my commercial. You came here to hear about our good friend Justine. How you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here. So what you been up to today?
First of all, I'm going to describe myself for those who are visually challenged. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm definitely white. I apologize in advance. I wear glasses, and I have a gray shirt on, and I've got my pearl earrings, which are like the only ladylike thing I've been wearing during COVID.
I'm into shaving every other day now. I've changed a bunch of habits since COVID. I guess I had to dress up in a suit once, but
I put on makeup today, so it's a pretty epic day.
So let's jump into you. Tell us about you.
So I grew up around here, actually. I went to Hazlitt schools and I really loved it. And then I went away for college, and I met my husband, and I transplanted him back here. We have a 13-acre farm right on the border of Hazlitt and Perry. So we're like 20 minutes from everywhere, but also super close to a grocery store, which is lovely. And we're, I don't know, just living our best lives, I guess.
Okay. Sorry, Katie Crick said we both look gorgeous, so thank you so much. And we might as well say, Mona said, what a beautiful day at the Fledge.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Mona. Thank you for being here.
And thank you both, So tell us, so Hazlitt, is that where you went to high school?
Yes, yep, K through 12.
Do you mind telling us where you went off to? How'd you snag someone to come back to Lansing?
So I started my college career at Michigan State University, and I went there for 2 years, and it was fine. But I like the large class sizes. It was a little much for me, I would say. And then I met a boy at a party, and he was at a college that I had always wanted to go to anyway. It's called Earlham College. It's tiny. It's in Indiana. It's lovely. And so I decided to really take on those student loans, go to an out-of-state private college, and I finished my college there with a BA in biology, which I'm not really using, except for like reading scientific papers for COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he was from Virginia, also went to Earlham, and we drove down to visit every weekend, and then decided that I made the switch, and I graduated from there.
Awesome. So do you have a farm? Is that what you said?
Yep. It's 13 acres, so we call it a baby farm.
Yeah. What, do you grow something in particular or raise something in particular?
Yep, we have chickens, so we have fresh eggs all the time, which is lovely. We're in the process of getting bees, which has been an interesting thing. And our neighbors graze their cattle on our property. Like, we have a circular grazing pattern.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we've got 4 chickens here, and then I rescued 2 ducks and 4 chickens from a family that was getting evicted. Ironically, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to have to find them homes sometime soon, but I'm hoping the family comes back.
Well, if they don't come back, you can bring them here. We haven't had ducks in a while, and I miss them.
Yeah, I love them, but I don't think you can have them in the city, and I've got enough problems with
just
stuff that
if you end up keeping them, bring them here. It's no problem.
Okay. All right. So that's one problem solved. Perfect.
That's a good lead-in, because people ask me a lot how I ended up doing what I'm doing. And the interesting thing about it is our farm is sort of the farm of misfit toys. And part of that is because I used to work for the Capital Area Humane Society. And basically from graduating college all the way until my son was born, I worked in and out of different like animal rescue groups and humane societies and things like that. And then when my son was born, the nonprofit sector is really hard when you have to pay for daycare. So I tell people I had to get a big girl job, and I did. And so now I help people find medical insurance is what I do. So people call and they say, hey, I just lost my job. I don't know what to do. I've always had medical insurance through my job. And like, this is crazy. How do I make it through the system? And so I get to help them do that. And it's pretty great.
Oh, nice. So tell us your company, and is there a website that we should put up?
Yeah. So I work for Cedar River Insurance. It's cedarriverins.com. And we're a full service agency, independent agency. So we do personal lines, the home and auto. We do professional insurance for businesses. And then I am the director of medical lines. And so I do anything medical or benefits related.
So what are some of the things people are struggling with right now with medical insurance?
Well, the COVID has been really interesting for a lot of people, and it's shifted a lot of things, right? One of the things that it's shifted is that a lot of people who are used to always getting their medical insurance through their jobs lost their jobs, and it was really scary for them. And then so usually it's, somebody asked somebody and they happen to know me, and it's like a word of mouth kind of connection that happens. And when people come to see me, they're usually really stressed out because losing health insurance is scary, both because people don't really know where to turn, and also because it's something that they know is important, and it's something that they know is expensive, but it's also something that they don't really understand how it works, right? And so they know it's like an important decision, but they don't know how to make it. And so getting to sit down and say, like, well, what are your needs? Like, do you get prescription drugs? Do you have tests every year? Are you generally healthy? Is all you need preventative care? Like, there's a lot of different ways that we can whittle down what is likely appropriate for somebody. And my hope is that when people leave, they feel like we did a good job helping them find what they needed instead of giving them something. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Because I don't know what you need, right, Jerry? I don't know what you need. I can ask, but I still can't live in your head, right? So, but I can help you. It's like medical insurance therapy. I can help you figure out what it is that you need to do, and then I can help lead you to how to get it in the easiest way.
All right. So now I have a million questions for you.
Okay.
So
I got it.
The first one, what are happening with rates in COVID? Like, is COVID pushing rates up?
No. In fact, and this is weird, COVID is actually pushing rates down. And the reason for that is because of ACA, the Affordable Care Act, love it or hate it, health insurance companies have to spend 80% of what they take in premiums back out on claims. So 80% can't be put to anything else. If it's not used on premiums, it has to, or if it's not used on medical things, it has to be returned to the clients. And for March, April, May of last year, nobody did anything. There were no knee surgeries. There were no, like, if it wasn't an emergency, it didn't get done. And so thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of healthcare just got canceled. Everything ground to a halt. And so then what health insurance companies did, both to be generous and also to sort of make up that space, is they said that they would cover COVID testing and treatment for free. And they're also covering COVID vaccines in some cases. And in some ways that has made up a difference. But also there are a lot of people who are electing not to do surgeries because they're nervous about getting COVID in the hospital. And so it's a really interesting space right now, because there's both a lot of need and not as much need. People are putting things off that they wouldn't have before.
So, that's interesting, what you got me thinking about. Would this carry over into like car insurance too? I know this is not the ACA, but Like, are there less accidents because people aren't driving as much?
There certainly were for a few months, yes, because nobody
Yeah.
was going anywhere. And I would say, I haven't looked into the numbers, but I would guess probably, like, we don't drive nearly as much as we would have 18 months ago.
Yeah. Okay. Now you said love it or hate it with ACA, and that was I'm going to go right into that question.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on Medicare or Medicaid for all?
I would love Medicare for all. Yep. I joke with people that, like, I shouldn't be trying to put myself out of business, but it's so hard when you have a client, and it's getting better. And we'll loop back around to this in just a second. But it is so hard when you have somebody who, like, has something like they need an inhaler and they just can't afford it. Now, Medicare with prescriptions has its own issues, but I'm a big fan of Medicare for all.
Yeah.
With Medicare comes Medigap and Medicare supplements, and also Medicare Advantage plans. So I don't think it would put me out of business, because all of a sudden you have a million people, more than a million people, who are trying to deal with the Medicare space
Yeah.
first time. That thing though, so as of April 1st, which is a really bad day to announce anything, because it's April Fool's Day, the Biden administration, again, love them or hate them, announced a new savings on the marketplace. And so all we've been doing this past month, well, these past 10 days, the beginning of this month, is calling clients and letting them know that they're going to pay less. So I've been telling everybody, if you've looked into the marketplace and you thought it was too expensive, it might be time to give it a second look, because they're saying that they're reducing cost by $50 to $85 per person, and that's definitely showing in everything that we've done.
And that's in Medicaid?
Oh no, that's in marketplace, healthcare.gov.
Oh, in
Yep.
healthcare.
Yeah. It's a lot. I know there's like a million terms and a million different spaces. And
Well, it still sounds like you're going to be needed for all this therapy. I'm having all kinds of trauma thinking about all my issues, and now it's less expensive and all this. So, insurance, is it fun? Do you have fun doing it?
Yeah, I do. But I don't think, like, when I was a kid, I wasn't like, you know what I want to be? I want to be an insurance agent. It's going to be amazing. But so my mission is to make the world better, right? Like, when I die, I want my obituary to read that I helped the people around me. And medical insurance makes me feel like I'm helping. Like, people come and they're scared and they don't know what to do, and we can calm them down and then talk them through the problem and make them feel empowered in the decision that they're making and help them save money. And I just, like, I walk away from an enrollment, I would say 99% of the time, just feeling great. Like I did something to help somebody.
That is awesome. I mean, healthcare is one of the great inequities of our country,
It is.
and one of the actually international embarrassments, in my opinion. So it's great to hear this positive attitudes towards things, and people like you, I guess, that are in this system and pushing it forward.
I don't disagree with anything that you just said, but I would say that there are good systems in place to help people. Now, no one system fixes every problem, right? There are still situations where I would change it if I could. But for the most part, like, if somebody comes to me and they're just over the federal poverty line, then we can get them a plan with like an $800 deductible and a $1,200 maximum out of pocket for like $50 a month. So it's not perfect every time, but I like what is there. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does make sense. You said your mission was to make the world a better place. What do you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
I get up and I answer my emails and I get through all of the claims questions that I have, and I try and respond to everybody that comes in. It's interesting because helping the world used to sort of feel like a side hustle, and now it feels like an everyday, which is really amazing, right? Like I love that the job that I get to do makes me feel like I'm making things better.
Will you expound on that a little bit more? Why was it a side hustle before?
Well, because you working for the Humane Society is absolutely wonderful. And then I was also doing like a lot of things in my free time. So fostering animals or fundraising for things. It felt like it was an extra. And really, like, working for a nonprofit, it's sometimes more mission than finance driven, right? Because like your paychecks aren't big, but it feels good to be there. But now I can get paid a living wage for helping people, and it feels amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever met our rescue?
No.
This is Peppa.
Hi, Peppa. Adorable.
I don't know. She's been here for a couple years. She's camera shy, so she ran away. But she's almost always sitting next to me during the show.
Animals make our lives so much better.
Yeah. So we've got the fish, we've got Peppo, we've got 4 chickens. Now we have 2 ducks, and actually 8 other chickens that I got to figure out. But we figured it out. So I got
we've got a barn and stalls, and we've got a pond. It's fine. Bring them out here if you need to.
Yeah. So what else do you do besides insurance, though? Do you paint? Do you sing? Do you dance? I don't know. Do you have any side hustles?
Yes, I do a little bit of everything, I think. So I am on the board right now of the Junior League of Lansing. I'm the treasurer. I am also part of the Woodhull Township Parks Commission, which is our little township up here. It's adorable. We have one park, and we just love that little park. We have a farm, so that's, up in the morning to do morning chores, and like right before bed we have chores and those sort of things, which is lovely. And then I do a lot of networking with women, which I love. So we try to connect each other whenever we can to, this past year, especially to like raise each other's spirits. One of the hard things is it is easy to see how women are leaving the workforce in droves. If I didn't love my job so much, I could easily see how having to do virtual school with my kid would be way easier if I didn't also try to work 40 hours a week. And so like that support has been really helpful and important, I think.
I've been thinking about this the whole COVID. So women are already at 72% of a man's salary, which is unjust just from the start. But also because of that gap, if you got to decide who's going to leave their job to be with the kids, the woman's going to lose that financial argument in most cases. So it's going to set women back again.
It has been, and that it's an interesting statistic because a lot of times people talk about an average, but it's obviously greater for people of color, women of color, right? So the ratios are even worse in other households, which is upsetting in a different way. But yeah, that's exactly right. Plus, it's interesting. My husband is very feminist and forward thinking, and we have always tried to raise our son even, right? So like when he was a baby, if he started clinging to one of us, then the other would take more care of him to try and like balance things. But still, like when he was a baby, we're in a restaurant and he would start crying, people would give me nasty looks, like because I'm the mother, and so I should be the one fixing the situation. And so I think that there's so much social stigma to that. Like there's expectations that even within a pretty even marriage and caregiving situation can be problematic. So I think that like if my husband stopped working to do virtual school for our kids, I think most of our friends would be fine with it. But I think that there would also be some like, well, how come he stopped working and she didn't stop working? So I think other than the pay, there's some social expectation there that if one of you is going to drop out, it's probably going to be the woman who does it.
Yeah. That's and you're right. I mean, in the black, brown, and even the poor communities, that gap is bigger than the 72%.
Yeah.
And I think I can't remember the day, but it was just recently within the week where it's called Equal Pay Day or something. So you've worked for free compared to a man up until that day, and it's in April, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty
So,
crazy.
yeah. You want a little praise? It'll cheer us up.
Oh, hey Dawn, I love you.
Everyone loves Dawn.
Speaking of amazing women.
Yeah. It was perfect timing.
Yeah, she's incredible. I am so lucky to have my group, right? Like we get together and we network, and we also like we get together once a month generally, but then during the beginning of COVID, we got together every 2 weeks, and one of the times would be to discuss somebody's business and to like help promote them, and the other time would just be to like unpack the trauma that we were going through and figure out like who needed what. And yeah, it's a great community. I'm so blessed and lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah. There are so many amazing women in our community. And I used to say strong women, and I always felt like that was the wrong word because it's like implying, oh, there's a lot of women who aren't strong, but these strong women, and all women are strong. They're such badasses. Us men are such babies.
I mean, you said it, but I'll agree.
I'll say it again every day. So we daisy chain the shows together. And
Yeah.
yesterday on the show, we had a man named Roland who has a music studio and a publishing company, and he's a minister. And his question to you is, what is your ultimate goal? And I don't know if it's all summed up in making the world better, or how would you like to expound on that?
So I have a very good friend named Lisa Fisher who is wonderful. And one of the things that she asks us a lot, and something that I think about a lot, is like, what do you want it to say in your obituary? And I think about that often. Like, what difference in the world do I want to make that is important enough that it's worth writing about, right? And I think, like, really that's what gets you up some mornings, right? Like some mornings it's easy to get up and do the grind, and other mornings you're like, all right, today's an obituary day. Let's get up and do it, right? It's going to be great. So yeah, I think that like the constant forward movement and like awareness of the future is really part of what drives me, I guess.
All right. Tomorrow on the show, we don't have a guest yet. So if anybody out there listening, Mona, wants to come on the show, Mona's going to come on, but at the later months. I'm pressuring her too much. But the question's random anyways. So what question, because we will get a guest, because I'm not stopping at 2:12. We got to keep moving on.
Got to keep going.
What question would you like to ask that person?
What literary character or in media do you most identify with, and why?
And I love that question. I've been thinking about it since you asked it in our prep.
What did you come up with?
I don't know yet. I was talking about, Dante this morning with somebody, and thinking about that journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise. And so he kind of popped into my mind. I don't know. Huh?
A constant explorer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what about you? How would you answer that?
Hermione Granger. The interesting thing about Hermione Granger is that she's never the hero, but she's always the one who has everything together.
Who is this person?
Oh, from Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah, I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Sorry.
Gary, we're going to have to talk.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there's 3 main characters in Harry Potter, and Harry Potter, obviously. And then Harry Potter is brave. He sort of was born with this yoke around his neck, this problem that he had to solve with a fair amount of childhood trauma. And then he makes 2 friends. Ron is like like your general like kind of doofy best friend. He's like always up for an adventure, and like sometimes he like is helpful, but normally he's just like a good sidekick. And then there's Hermione Granger, who, even though she didn't come from a wizarding family, is the top of her class because she studies every damn day, and she just pushes herself to be the best all the time. And so when things go off the rails, she's almost always the one who's like, I read a book about this. I got this. It's fine.
See, I think that's amazing. I don't understand the complete character yet. But I've never seen E.T. All right. And a lot of kids growing up, they can say that now, but for like 30 years, I was like the only person that had never seen E.T. that I ever ran into. And it became an obsession just to not watch it.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of like that with Harry Potter too.
Uh-huh.
And I think, I don't know, convince me.
You read 2 chapters and you'll convince yourself. Like, there's something about it that is so lighthearted and lovely, and it's like a world that everybody would want to live in. But it's also like, you talk about childhood trauma and like persevering in the face of childhood trauma, and that is like the Harry Potter story in itself.
Yeah. All right. You're convincing me. 2 chapters. That's all I'm committing to.
Give it a try.
All right. What is happiness to you, and are you happy?
Oh, that's a good question. So one of the things that I was kind of looking into during COVID is self-care. Like, what is self-care? When you start to feel tired, again, like, you get up every damn day, you do your job, like with COVID, there's a lot going on around you. And so like, how do you balance these things? And so I actually did a poll on my Facebook page to find out what other people did for self-care. And I just like tried a bunch of them. Like, is it taking a bubble bath? Is it sitting around and reading? Is it doing your nails or getting a pedicure or getting your hair done? Or just like eating an entire carton of ice cream? Like, what is self-care? And for me, self-care is crossing things off a list. Isn't that funny? Like making a list of simple things and then doing like 5 simple things and then like crossing them off. My brain loves it. Yeah. So keeping stress down during COVID and like happiness is like dealing with the things that I can control and not dealing with the things that I can't control. And then like making a little list of all the things that need to get done and crossing them off and going to bed at night feeling like I did what I needed to do. And am I happy? The answer is unequivocally yes. It's a weird space right now because, number one, there's just so much suffering going on. And I think we all know that there's often a lot of suffering going on, but it's not always our neighbors or like the people that are close to us. So between sickness and loss of jobs, like it's a difficult time for everybody. And I feel like I wear that weight a little bit. And also like, it's hard to just be in one place all the time. As somebody who luckily has been used to traveling and like seeing different places, not being able to widen my worldview is problematic, or like not being able to visit to widen my worldview. But yes, I would say that like we're a solid 80-20 here almost all the time, which is a good place to be during COVID. Like it's a good, I think that solid 80% is good. And I would say, yeah, I'm happy.
That's awesome. So, when you were talking about the list, it brought me back to the 80s. I used to listen to these tapes by Earl Nightingale all the time. And he was the first one that made me realize that lists didn't always exist, right? And that very simple process of making a list and crossing things off can be such an effective way to be productive, happy, effective, whatever word you want to use. And as I was thinking about that, then you go right into Covey and Circle of Influence and Circle of Control and Circle of Concern. And then those 2 companies actually merged into Covey Nightingale, which is, then it got weird on me. And yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take a break for Justine is the best.
Thank you, Debbie. You're the best too.
And then we got a Maya.
Hi. It's
What's
good.
up, CISO?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. It's good to be here.
what gives you hope?
Right now, science.
Is it real? Is science real?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's super real. Yes. We just got our first vaccines. My son is 6, so he cannot get a vaccine yet, but hopefully we'll be able to in the next handful of months. I think that there's a little anxiety about like what the world looks like after this, but I am excited to venture forth and find out.
I'm zooming us in and out because I put in my pronouns Moderna. I'm at one of 2.
Yeah, Team Moderna too. I am also Team Moderna. Yeah.
So I think my next shot's a week from today, or maybe 2 weeks from today. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm excited. And I actually, since we're talking about it, if you don't mind, Ellen Neighborhood Center might have a couple of slots still open. They've got the Johnson & Johnson today, and they're looking for people that might need a shot. So call the Ellen Neighborhood Center and tell them you want Johnson & Johnson and you're one and done.
Absolutely. But, you can always use my time to push vaccines. I'm totally on board with that.
All right. Okay. Did we forget to talk about anything? Did we forget to promote anything or reference something?
I don't think so. I think I want to say one more time that if you have looked into the marketplace before and you didn't think that, or you didn't think that you could afford it, take a second look. You can call us. I can help you with it, or you can do it by yourself. I have no preference. But I really it's a scary time to be without health insurance. And a lot of the companies are still covering COVID testing and treatment for free. So if you get COVID, you don't pay a bill for it, which is amazing. So if that's something that you are interested in, please take another look.
All right. So I put that in the comments too. So what would you like to take us out with today?
I am going to take us out with a Eleanor Roosevelt quote because I think she's amazing. And I think that it is very fitting for this space. And it is, nothing has ever been achieved by the person who says it can't be done.
That's right. It's a non-starter.
Yep.
Great quote. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. And everyone in the crowd out there, thanks for participating and commenting. We always love to know who's watching. So appreciate it very much. And we will see you later. Every damn day, 2 p.m. We're out. See ya.